co-founder of Scientists for the EU and Healthier in the EU. So Mike Galsworthy.
Bollocks to Brexit, yes. How did you know what I had written on my hoodie here? Brexit's a bit of a mess, isn't it? I mean, it's a basic right at the moment, given what a mess it is, that the public has the right to pull the chain on this if they don't like what's coming down the line. Don't we all agree that the public should have the right to ditch this whole thing if we don't like the look of what's coming? I mean, to deny that is absolutely nuts. So let's just analyse the mess a bit. We have a government that triggered Article 50 without knowing their negotiating position, not knowing what they wanted. Dozens of frameworks they had no idea what they wanted to do with, and they still don't with a year to go. The Cabinet is in disarray on this. And then they want to leave the customs union, but haven't got any customs preparations ready. And then what does leaving the customs union mean for the Irish border? Oops, they hadn't thought that one through too. And then they were telling all of our fellow EU citizens in our country, don't worry, nothing will change, it will be fine. Now, in just 1 year's time, after they've been messing them around for years with lots of valuable people going home, a year from now, they're going to try and drag and drop 3.5 million people from a system of guaranteed rights to applying for settled status. And when they've got error rates of anything between 10% and 30%, that's hundreds of thousands of people that are going to get screwed around. Do they have the capacity to mop up after their own errors? Oops, they hadn't thought that one through either. So Brexit is like taking a shovel and taking our money, what little we've got, and putting it all on a big fire, and there's nothing for the NHS that needs it, nothing for our education, nothing for our good police that need it, for the work that they have to do in inner cities, nothing for the investment in infrastructure that we need right throughout this country. Right throughout this country. And so that's why, oh, yeah, and then there's the last thing. Have you been watching the Cambridge Analytica stuff? All that rigging by absolute crooks. I am British. I am English. This is not how we behave in this country. I'm not having it. None of us should bend over and take that kind of behaviour. So that's what we're looking at here. This level of mess, now given that we all know it's this level of mess, that is why it's a fundamental right that we should have a public say on whatever comes back, and if it looks rubbish, we should call it rubbish, and we should ditch it and get on with the things that this country needs. Fully embracing all the beneficial frameworks that we get. Now I want to talk about two key things here, science and the NHS, because that's what I do, that's what I know. During the referendum debate, scientists, of course, 90% for remaining because of that massively beneficial framework. It's beneficial to everyone. Half of the US's growth since World War II, this is in the US, has come down to investment in science and technology. It's the same here in the UK and in Europe. This is what drives economies. When you're on the front foot in terms of science and technology and innovation, universities linked with local communities, get businesses growing there, Silicon Valley effect, it's jobs for all, the painter decorator, the local hospitality, the security guard, the lot. That's where you need to put your investment. But Brexit is screwing things up already. We're already seeing our participation in the EU science programmes, which are damn good, by the way, drop from 15% to 12%. The Russell Group is already telling us that for valuable postgrads from the EU, that has dropped 9%. Hiring is harder, and our policy voice is going in that. That is screwing us over, and that's not just our universities, that's going to have ramifications right throughout our future economy. Think about those jobs for the kids. That is key, and we are screwing ourselves over now. Now let's talk about the NHS. The NHS is already hurting. Again, all of the experts were saying this at the time of the referendum. We are seeing it happening now. Staffing and finances. EU nurses, we absolutely need to be plugging gaps in our system. From 2013 to 2016, they were growing in our workforce about 30% per annum when other sources weren't, okay? So our NHS nurses from that time to that time overall grew by 19,000. For those coming from the EU, 21,000, which means they were filling in the gaps and then adding all the growth, which is vital when you've got 40,000 vacancies. They are now leaving. It's not the English language test. Don't let people tell you that, because those already here don't need to do that. But their leaving rate has shot up 67%. And it's the same thing with EU doctors. They held out hope for a while, peaked in March 2017, and are now declining too. And they are super valuable to our NHS. When they start leaving, then the strain increases, and then it has knock-on effects with the rest of our staff. So let's hear it for the EU staff that work in our hospitals to help prop up our health and keep us going. We value them so much. Part of a proper country is to welcome in people that are of value to that. So what do we do now? I'll tell you what we do now. We build community, and this community is building. There are now consistently, poll after poll, more people thinking that Brexit was a mistake than thinking it was a good thing. And the community has been building right throughout the country, through all these regional rallies that you saw yesterday, all over the country. We keep building that on social media, on the ground, and that is how we are going to win, by coming together and showing that working together through solidarity, through recapturing our politics with common sense and love, people. That's all it is. Common sense and love and working together is how we re-establish what it is to be British and British European. Thank you.